You are listening to the dbCj podcast on YouTube. You can reach us at dbCjpodcast at gmail.com. Everything said on the D-Boy and Crazy J podcast is for pure entertainment purposes only. Names, dates, and places have been changed to protect the rights of the innocent and the guilty. Are you a small business? Are you trying to get your name known? What better way than to advertise with dbCj podcast? You know, D-Boy and Crazy J. We'll do it for free. As long as you help us, we'll help you. So go ahead and get a hold of us at dbCjpodcast at gmail.com.
Recorded live from an undisclosed location somewhere in the greater America area, this is the DuBoy and Crazy J podcast. Does it really show loudness? Let me see if I can move this and actually see what the fuck is going on. On my screen, True Peak, L level. It doesn't really show me shit. It's loud as fuck too, isn't it? Yeah, it's just, why isn't it moving? I really wish there was some better way to... There should be a better way. Why isn't there a better way? How do we get rid of all that feedback, right? Like, we need it to be a different thing. And, why is my voice so fucking deep, dude? This is my natural speaking voice. And then I go ahead and start fucking around with the, I got a couple of sound programs. Hold on, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee here. And I don't even know who would listen to this stuff. People like that, what is that shit? When you watch people eat, we'll do one where you can listen to me drink coffee. Listen to me smoke a half a cigarette. Maybe a half a doobie, I don't know. Which doobie you be? So it's in an unnatural setting, created by man. I'm just sitting here in this fucking truck stop in an unknown land. I have one half of the DuBoy and Crazy J show. Today I'm going to fly a little slightly solo, perhaps. I don't know. Dewey's got some things going on in the world, and it's his business to... I'll just say he has more important things to do right now. So I think what I'm going to do here is we're going to get into a little tune and let it inspire some kind of... something that comes out of my afro wire. And we'll be back in a minute. This is the DuBoy and Crazy J podcast. dbCjpodcast at gmail.com. Go ahead and get a hold of us over there if you want. You want to talk to us, communicate with us. You want to be on the show with us. You want us to plug your business, or you got a demo that you want to put out there real quick. It's just another avenue, man. Like, a lot of streets in the fucking world, right? Why not cruise down dbCj Avenue, baby? Boom, boom. And I know we'll be back in a little bit. I'm Crazy J, half of the DuBoy Crazy J podcast. Okay, so I guess I'll be fairly honest. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. A lot of what happens there is, it doesn't need a little shit on my phone. It's like a more of a game, I guess, than anything else. It's yeah, get these little sound packs and shit like that, and then I'll put some of that on my computer, and then I'll goof around and edit some shit, and then it turns into what you just heard. And then, it goes through one of the MIDI pads and all that jazz and whatever the fuck. And, some of the people out there in the community understand the EDM world. And, I'll shout out to you, bro, wherever the fuck you're listening from, man. You know who you are. And, but that's what comes out of my fucking imagination. Kind of reminded me of some Halloween fucking clowns bopping around or some shit. So I guess I'll touch on some Halloween stuff, man. Put a fucking reflector on your kid. Or take one of them little bicycle lights, the little flashy things, man. Those are cheaper than the fucking ones that you would get anyway, right? And they last longer. And then when you're done using them, you can put them on your child's bicycle. So, I think that's actually like a 2-for-1 bang bang, man, right? Oh, actually a 3-for-1 because that's some preventative measures being taken. You ain't going to have to deal with your kid getting run the fuck over by somebody. None for nothing. If I'll tell you what, man, when I went trick-or-treating with my kids and things like that, you'll see, and a lot of us were the teenagers that were excitedly unsupervised and doped out on sugar, and probably some of them on dope too, because I had a rambunctious youth, man, and it's fucking. But if you are now a parent watching and observing your children and other children that remind you of things that you did when you were that age, and you can remember vividly a couple of things where you are now compelled to intervene with said actions being taken by these teenagers, I'll say do so lightly, because whatever, man, what's right is right, but where's the line, and you don't want to be retaliated upon and being accused of being a Karen or a Kevin, and I'm not anybody with that name, I'm not getting on you about it, not you specifically, but we know who those people are. Which, you know what, here we go with some chasing squirrel shit, because I'm crazy Jason, and that's what I do, squirrel chasing. The Karen thing, man, right, and I got some heavy quotations going on. I don't do video shit because it's too hard for the way Duboy and I, the way we do the show and shit is very difficult. We're always in motion, set up, takedown. And I don't have the funds to go out and be spending money on fancy equipment and shit. I got what I got, and I do what I do. So fucking leave it. But anyway, these Karens, okay, the ones that go all spastic, that sense of entitlement, the I know better than you, the you can't tell me what to do, and the laws don't apply to me. It came up in a previous interaction or discussion or whatever between Duboy and I, where I'm sitting here now beginning the question as to whether or not it's like some kind of social experiment performed by some higher ups and the ones above them, and even above that, as to where it's like, let's see what this type of medication might do, or let's add this into something, or let's sprinkle a little of whatever in their, fucking oatmeal, or I don't even fucking know, whatever, dude. Like, they could be spiking the drinks basically on a global level, and I'm not saying it's everybody or anything like that on a certain, part of a certain group or whatever, like if everybody's on a certain type of prescription for this same thing, and they're the ones that go all Karen on people and shit, right? And it's because of this medication. And, different people have different biologies and shit, and there's probably some kind of grandiose, bigger fucking scheme behind all of it. But, yeah, it's like, it almost seems as though out of nowhere, a whole new brand species of self-entitled fucking you can't tell me what to do mentalities emerged. Maybe it's because of being cooped up because of pandemic and COVID or Corona or whatever the fuck we were told to believe, man, which we all know now we're a bunch of motherfucking idiots for listening to any of it, because they pretty much told us flat in our fucking faces, like, yeah, it was all just a fucking thing to shake it all up, man, and fuck with the money really in the end. And we've all seen it before, but we all get caught up doing all the shit that we're doing and forget so motherfucking easily what happened yesterday, let alone last month, let alone 4 fucking years ago, or 5, 8, 10. They tell you what, when you woke up on November 28th, 1991, what the fuck were you thinking, like, right? Or what was on the news that day? None of us fucking really got good memories because of just the world around us and the stresses. So it's really, really easy to repeat the same fucking actions against the general population of the people, to fuck with them. And, if it works once, why not do it again twice as bad? And they did. So on that note, I'm going to let you ponder. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just open-minded, and I don't commit really to too much of that. I'm interested in the curiosity. It grabs me by the huevos. So we're going to break off again. This is half of the DuBois Crazy J podcast on YouTube. I'm Crazy Jason, and squirrel chasing's what I do. So we'll be back in a minute. Enjoy some tunage, homemade stylies in the brew pot for the Halloween witches and warlocks. Enjoy, friends. dbCjpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, it was like Halloween, and then I was talking about Karen, and I got into American cool shit, so I'm going to Halloween shit, I guess. Double check the kids' candy, but I guess the question is, why is it that we're only checking the candy on Halloween? I understand that that's like more common to do. How many times have you just like given your kids a piece of fucking candy and looked at it, and I ain't saying something funky in it, like, lemons or okay, I gotta take that, but not whatever. A bag of candy from somewhere, and you just open it up, and the shit's like rotten on the inside, but you're like, whatever, it came from the fucking store. And if you get one time, not just that one day, because if somebody's gonna do something stupid to it, they're gonna do it, and they're just gonna do it, and it doesn't matter what day of the fucking year it is, they're gonna unexpectedly. So there's this haunted house in Tennessee, I believe, where they're paying like $1.2 million if you can successfully complete the entire, I guess, maze or setup of it, because I guess they created it, or apparently it turned out so frightening that people have like insane bonkers panic attacks and shit. I won't try it, dude. Do crazyjpodcast@gmail.com. Crazy J over here, half of the show anyway. Yeah, we're always looking for people to collaborate with us, like hang out and talk to us, or if you, like I said, if you've got a business to plug, or if there's like an event in your local town that you're trying to support, or get volunteers for, I understand it's on YouTube, so it's gonna reach the audience that wants to see it, I guess. But damn, this isn't really a good ad, is it? If you're doing fundraisers or charities work, anything like that, you're trying to collect pop cans or soda bottles, or when sometimes they do the soda tabs or whatever, man, for a school, anything like that, get a hold of us. We'll try to do what we can do to make it a good thing, because the world needs to be a better place. And I think a lot of us, whatever you want to say, Gen X and Gen Ys and Zs and Qs and Ps, and I'm just going to say those of us that were graduating right around the turn of the millennium. How about that? We grew up in a fucked up era. All of us have, but we're at least fucking sick enough of this shit to where we're making a difference. Fuck that shit. And our kids, anyway, I think, those of us that have them and those of us that see them, you're around them if you don't have your own, and you might help. Yeah, you tell you what, it takes communities to raise children, so, you may not have a child of your own, but you might be out there fucking an active role model for one that you don't even know you're an active role model for, because you don't get to choose who views you as a role model. And who knows, man, they've chosen you for the best of reasons or the worst of reasons. So it's the way you see it. The way I see it is like everybody might see you as a role model, so watch your shit. This isn't really any kind of direction. This show's completely unscripted, unfucking censored, mostly unseen and unheard. I'm Crazy J. dbCjpodcast at gmail.com, dbCjpodcast at gmail.com, dbCjpodcast at gmail.com, dbCjpodcast at gmail.com. But why so repetitive? Anybody that works in advertising and marketing knows it's called branding the fucking brain. How'd you do spelling words when you were young? Read 'em, say 'em, write 'em, say 'em, read 'em, say 'em, write 'em, say 'em, read 'em, say 'em, write 'em, say 'em, read 'em, say 'em, write 'em, say 'em. Repetition. Muscle memory and shit. So if I sit here and fucking spit the same shit in your head, it creates what I like to call the earworm, and your brain is a giant apple, and that shit just goes digging around in there all like James and a Giant Peach style, munching and crunching on all the things in your head that you could have been doing and being productive about, but no, you're sitting here with this one song in your head. Or dbCjpodcast at gmail.com, dbCjpodcast at gmail.com. Or the guy that says, fuck that shit, right? Why do our brains get so easily fucking just reshaped like that? And I'm sure there's a way to build barriers, but what else are you cutting yourself off from if you put up all these walls? So if you're bombarded endlessly with useless shit, you're gonna put up these barriers to protect your fucking sanity and keep the shape that you created for your mind. But what else gets cut off? There's a lot of good that disappears too. So I'm wondering if that's all part of a grander plan, right? The man, if you will, some dude, there's a chick or a human being, we'll say, sitting somewhere on some fucking high-class throne, and in their fucking left hand, they got like one of them big old fucking sippy cups with a straw coming out of it, but what they're drinking is your brain fucking energy, your vibe and shit, and they're just sucking it from you. They don't give a fuck about money. They don't get up and go to work. They don't even understand the concept. There's some movies out there that are really great about, highlighting the way the separation and divide of classes is what it is. I mean, we learned about this shit in school, or you are learning maybe about it in school, and it still exists to this day, is like that hierarchy, whatever, like a command structure. Our daily lives are no different than if you were like in a job setting. And it's based on entry-level positions, and it has nothing to do with us as individuals. It's like bloodline type shit. Now I'm getting all hypothetical and theoretical, and all right, I'm going to very highlight that over and over again, much, like, you got to emphasize the fact that this is just my opinion, okay? And it just needs to be known. But like a protected bloodline maybe, and I'm not going to get too specific, it don't matter. Spaghetti. Shut the fuck up and eat your O's, yo. But, yeah, and you go back far enough to caveman times, I'm sure it's a lot of that alpha mentality. And then there's a lot of the whole, you could get into the panspermia from higher intellectual beings from transgalactic cultures that may be sitting here using us as some kind of vessel, like we ain't nothing but a bunch of cows of them, and they come on down here and that's a ripe one, pluck us off the fucking planet, rip off our fingers, batter them the fuck up, throw them in whatever fucking intergalactic fryer system that they have, because it's way the fuck, it's a plasma machine or something, and then they suck on our fingers like chicken bones. And then they fly off to the next fucking planet, fill up on gas, take a leak over there, and then they go visit fucking whatever fucking fuck. Right? Where am I going with this? Nobody cares because it's a crazy dude. I'm not really crazy, and I don't mean that in any negative ways. I just kind of had a small breakfast and more coffee than food. So there we go. It's been a little while. I'm gonna end up trying to get a hold of DuBoy because it's hard for me to run half a show. You know, it's like talking to yourself, and I don't do scripts really well. I just kind of sit here and use my microphone like a fucking therapist. You know, a lot of people use social media like fucking therapy. I guess my microphone's my therapist, and I just gotta get it all out, man. Whatever. Again, if you're a small business entrepreneur looking to gain help for charities or volunteers for anything, fundraisers and things like that, whatever, man, hit us up, dbCjpodcast at gmail.com. And this is Crazy J on the dbCJ podcast. Today, October 7, 22. Depending on what calendar you're on, some would say 12,022, 6,087. I can't even. There was this girl on social media. I'm a victim, man. I fall down that motherfucking rabbit hole. The walls on that shit are so slippery and steep. It's hard to fucking gain traction and get out of a social media pit, dude. And I mean, I don't know. Not everybody, okay, not everybody, but and increasingly, more and more people are falling into that pit of. And the younger generations are more susceptible, obviously, of just that rapid fucking stimulation from social media, and one little clip has got you fucking laughing, and the next one you're crying, and the next one you're mad, and the next one you're like, wait, what the fuck? And the next one you're crying again, and the next one's like, what the fuck? And it's just such a fucking shattered glass of a fucking emotional state. How the hell can anybody contemplate how to maintain any kind of fucking normalcy in real interactions and shit, because that fucking just is a blast, dude. You don't even have enough time to actually experience the emotion in its entirety, let alone process all of the fucking intricacies of what it can do. And then there's a hormone, like emotions come from hormones and shit and chemicals in your body. That's a science, right? Like, and I'm not educated on it, but I at least understand some basic principles, you know what I mean? That's little molecules that connect with other ones or separate from other ones, and it creates chemical reactions and shit. So like you have these different fluctuating chemical reactions going on in your system, like fucking up, down, and that can't be healthy, man. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like using the word can'ts and no's and don'ts and won'ts and shit like that, but okay, I'll say it like this then. That has got to be an extreme fucking stress to the body, in the brain. All that up and down, and that ties into my beliefs on the alarm clock, and that's probably, like, not the alarm clock itself, okay, but even that has its downfalls in my opinion. But the snooze button, dude, is probably the single most worst thing the human being has ever fucking, like, accepted to use and does use, in my opinion, okay, my beliefs. Okay, and again, it ties into that chemical fluctuation. The waking up part of life, right, is very stressful on the body. You know, your body temperature goes up, your brain starts fucking doing shit. Okay, it's stressful, and I don't know the details, but Google it, dude. And like, we all have access to that shit. And I don't want to do it right now, honestly, because I'd lose my train of thought. But so if you're fucking waking up that first time and you're in a deep sleep, all right, your alarm goes off. Think about it. It's a fucking alarm. It's a shock. So you're down there fucking having some wet dream or whatever the fuck, right? And then bam, you're awake. And then it's a shock to your system. So what happens? It's like fucking, oh my God, and then crash. You're gonna want to hit fucking snooze, dude. And you do. And then you fall back asleep. And when you fall back asleep, the chemicals go back down. You know, they start readjusting, and the melatonins and the things like that start coming back. And then, 8 minutes? I'm sure scientists have fucking put a little bit of thought into this shit before they came up with the standard alarm. Snooze is like 8 minutes. Okay, and now you can change it and and people be setting like 35 motherfucking alarms 8 seconds apart and shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? But the old school alarms were like, that digital shit, 8 minutes, okay? And that's right about the time you start to actually stop falling asleep and you hit the floor of sleep, right? Boom. And then bam, there's your alarm again. and it fucking spikes your chemicals again. And then what's going to go on? I mean, your body's like a fucking sponge. You can only squeeze it so hard before there's nothing left. And if you burn all of that shit through today, or for your day, all right there in the first 16 to fucking 18 minutes and shit, and you fry out, man, you know, harsh, dude. I haven't used a fucking alarm clock, okay, in any kind of regularity. I have used it maybe once or twice, and even then, I still woke up before it. But I have been without an alarm clock for years now, and I've been just fine. And now I still use time. I'll still look at the clock and shit, and even that's rough on me. I like to try to guess what time it is before I look at the clock. I think maybe a lot of people do that, which ties into something else that I like to think about, right? This is a fun one. Are people addicted to prediction? Is there a thing where you can be addicted to the actual entirety and true meaning of predicting? Because the weather channels and gambling and lotteries and sports and think about how many times people say, I told you so, I knew that would happen, right? I called that one, saw that coming, all that shit, right? I bet you this, I bet you that. How much you want to bet, motherfucker? And maybe an addiction to prediction is tied directly to evolution, in which you can circumvent prediction and say addiction is directly tied to evolution, because if you just want to look right at slime mold, it's addicted to what's the most stimulating, and it's a stimulus response is all that is. Addiction is a stimulus response. It's the most potent stimulus response that an individual will seek. The most highest, most fucking intense stimulus response, okay? And humans are, complex. I'm not going to say the most evolved, because I don't know all the life that exists, right? That'd be so arrogant of me to say that human beings are the most evolved things out there, because I couldn't even tell you what's at the bottom of the fucking ocean. Who knows, man, right? And let alone outer space, dude. You want to take a trip? Let's take a trip. No. But it's just the things that happen, right? I totally lost my train of thought, though, so I guess I was on to something good, because the Akasha field was telling me to simmer down, baby. We're going to let the tunes play. Crazy J, dbCjpodcast at gmail.com, dbCjpodcast on YouTube. dbCjpodcast is what you are listening to. Enjoy the music for a little bit. I'm going to gather myself, try to figure out what the fuck's going on. Be back in a bit. I guess, something I should have thought of doing a while ago. I'm sitting here and I know I thought of this, but it just kind of got overlapped by a lot of other random fleeting thoughts throughout the day. And, what you can be doing one thing and thinking about another, and then here comes another and another and another. And it's you're still doing what you got to do, but you're still lost in thought, and then it's kind of a self-induced meditative hypnotic state to just kind of help you deal with whatever task you're doing that is that's not horrible, but you'd just rather be elsewhere, right? And your brain is fucking running. But I want to, anyway, yeah, I gotta get into my YouTube shit here real quick, and give a shout out to the people that have actually subscribed to our shit and listened to it, at least maybe, say thank you. And I am saying thank you now in my own fucked up way, right? But I want to actually give a literal fucking hey, you over here, and I'm kind of having a hard time operating my computer, because the things that happen on if you're a listener, you already know. And Duboy, yeah, that was for you, man, because Duboy had to take fucking sick day, So, it's getting near the Halloween. People be decorating. I seen social media has, that was the wrong knob. We'll do them both here. The witch walls, right? Witchy walls. Like, I like that stuff. I like Halloween when people get into it, like not horrible into it, like, I don't know, actually, like, want to fucking commit. Well, I don't know, man, because maybe they're, I'll tell you what, here, my brain's running. We're all sitting here sometimes, and it's been around on the internet where it's like Illuminati and all that shit, right? Or like these cults and cultures where they do all these weird rituals and voodoo and fucking shamans and fucking witch doctors and, okay, right? Yeah, there's people out there slitting the fucking throat of a goat right the fuck now. Garen motherfucking teed. There's people out there drinking cow's milk and eating fucking pig, and then there's people out there that are on the exact, complete, extreme other side of that, where even some of those beliefs are anti-religious, animal fucking usage, if you will. The idea that I'm getting at with all of this ramblings, that I'm kind of sitting here fidgeting with things on my desk trying to gather my thoughts, to produce here, is how do you know? Like, how do you know that you're right? Just because you're not wrong doesn't mean you're right, and just because you're right doesn't mean somebody else is automatically wrong. Two people can be right about the same thing with different ideas, right? Like, so, I don't know, man. And there's people that are colorblind, and they'll tell you that the sky is a certain color, and you'll be like, no, it's a different color. And if you switched eyeballs, you would both be like, what the fuck? It's completely different, but now I get it. And that's just the age-old way to draw the comparison, even for a child. Not everybody understands that crayon is red. They might think red is green and green is red, and you say that to a kid, and then they're like, whoa, people see the world differently? Perspective. And people there's a decent amount of people that understand it, and just an equal number of people that don't. I don't know. So maybe that leaves it up to you at that whatever particular moment. If there's an equal number of people that do, and an equal number of people that don't, maybe you're the one that's supposed to sway the vote. Maybe you're the one that's supposed to mesh in like one idea is one gear and the other idea is another gear, and you're supposed to be the fluid intermeshing of fluid interaction between ideas, right? That's where the idea of theology comes from. There is no one religion. There's all of, like, you look at it on a global scale. Look at it globally. We are all human, right? So we have to accept that is all part of all of us. Not all, you don't have to like it, but it's still gonna exist, whether you like it or not. So you know what? Instead of causing an additive to the fucking reaction of negativity, why not just try to just, you know what? I'm not saying ignore it, but it is what it is. It's always gonna be. And the more you can allow people to, maybe you see something at the end of their path that they don't, but it's their fucking path. And whether it's an individual or a culture or whatever, man, sometimes people don't see how big their oceans are until they're out of them. And it doesn't matter how hard you try to yell at them from shore. And you could throw them all the little life rafts you want, dude. But ultimately, in the end, I don't know. That's what happens on the show. I just tail off into shit. I get all philosophical and uneducatedly philosophical, because I'm sure there's like this esotericness to my, right? It's not like a feudalistic esotericism or nothing like that, but I just wander around in the galactic gates and shit. I'm like playing in the front yard of the universe. I'm not even like on their sidewalk. I'm still like in the street playing, Yeah, it's rough, right? Yeah, not really. dbCjpodcast@gmail.com. Listening to us here now on YouTube, we do appreciate you. Whether you're chick, dude, or both of two, one of one, none of either. Just listen, man. It's all fun. We like it. We're all people, man. So we're going to cut and tail down here. Hopefully this song will come back on. Sorry, my big nose hit the microphone there, right? And live and let live. So if you've got an idea for a topic here on the show, right, or you would like to be in a discussion with either DuBoy or Crazy J or me on the show, you know, questions, comments, concerns, and all that mumbo jumbo. It was actually a song I remember playing in a marching band when I was in high school, and walking down some streets, jamming on my trumpet, playing mumbo jumbo. Anyway, if get in touch with us, DuBoy Crazy J. So it's dbCjpodcast@gmail.com. I've said it like a million times. I'll say it probably a million more by the time I'm ever done with this show. Yeah, you know what? I'm already saying a lot of us. I do appreciate you took the time to make it all the way to the end, man. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. I mean, that's all like cliche, dude. I hate even like hearing myself say that shit. But you know what? If you like it, man, share it with a friend, I guess, whatever. There's some giggles, there's some ideas, there's some fucking useless shit. That's the way it goes. Unscripted, uncensored, unfiltered, and bordering